Hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you real quick about your week 7 and week 8 cargo carrier project. So this is a project that we're doing. It's going to last 2 full weeks. So make sure you take a look here, and as always, let one of your teachers know if you got a question. First thing is the timeline. So because periods 135 and 246 have different dates, we have a timeline for 135 right here, timeline for 246 right there. Same material, just slightly different dates. So take a look at that. I'm going to go into our Monday, Tuesday folder first, and this is sort of an introduction. So make sure you read through all of this. You're going to start your project by reviewing the Cargo Carrier Project Introduction. So I'll click that, and your teacher will go through this whole presentation with you. Talks a little bit about what an engineer does. Talks about the fact that the Superfund sites are actually in Oakdale. So this blue dot there is where Tartan High School is. And the red dots there are locations of Superfund sites. And so these are places where chemicals have been dumped in, basically buried in the ground, and they've done it in a good way. But the reason they have those sites is because a few years ago the government decided that certain chemicals are not good for humans, just basically not good for life in general. So we're going to get rid of them. Some of those chemicals at these specific sites are called perfluorochemicals. Things like 3M Scotchgard is in there, so not great stuff. The reason we dump chemicals nearby is to remove the risk of damage. When truck tips over, spills, you get problems with the environment. Lots of money can be lost as well. There's other issues as well, so make sure you take a look at that video. So your task as a student is you've been hired by a chemical company that wants a carrier to transport chemical waste. So some of the things to think about are cost, time it takes to make this carrier, and really the ability to fit it onto a truck. You need to be able to fit this onto a truck. So some ways that your designs might be evaluated. Is your carrier within budget? We can't spend $100 billion on a carrier. That wouldn't be possible. So we need to have a specific budget. Is it done on time? It needs to be done on time. It has to be the right size. Is the cargo protected if the container is in a crash? Are you going to contain that stuff and not let anything out into the environment? And then sort of the wrap up with what we've been talking about is, are you using Newton's laws to explain how forces are going to affect your cargo? Because just like in a regular car crash with a person is affected by Newton's laws, so this cargo is as well. So you are going to produce a few things. Number one is a plan, an actual drawing of your cargo carrier. You're going to produce what's called a prototype, which is basically a physical model of your cargo carrier. And then just sort of the journaling that you're going to do throughout this process. All right, testing your model, because we are in distance learning, testing of your model is going to be optional. I highly recommend it. It is a lot of fun, but it will be an option for you. So you can choose to do this or not. In a real setting, if you were actually doing this for a true chemical company, you would definitely test your model, because why build something and not actually figure out if it's going to work? So throughout this, you're going to be going through the design process. So what problem are you going to solve? What background do you need to get? Notice also, you start with a problem, you end with an evaluation, but there's not one path. There is, a lot of times, you're going to go back and re-ask questions, get some more information. And after you evaluate, maybe it didn't work, let's try a new plan. Maybe we need some more information. Maybe we got to totally start over. So there isn't one set pathway with this design process. For your evaluation, for your assessment process, you're going to have to sort of convince the chemical company that they should buy your design. What is this overview of this design process? How have you designed it, and what steps have you taken to do it? How are Newton's laws involved? And then you need to sort of evaluate your design. How have you done? And then finally, a discussion on your the process. What have you been thinking about? So that is a quick intro to the plan. We have a materials tracker here to help keep track of what you're spending. When you click on this materials tracker, you're clicking there and it's going to force you to make a copy. So you just click make a copy and this Google Sheets will pop up. Make sure you type in your name and hour. And then here's a list of materials that we have traditionally used for this project. We have some spaces down at the bottom, and these spaces are down at the bottom because since you're doing this on your own at home, you might have something else at home that you might think could be useful. So if you don't find anything useful here, talk to your teacher and we can then add some items here. Teacher's going to kind of tell you how much that's going to cost, but we'll kind of get to that on an individual basis. If you want to use these materials here and you have those materials, it's totally fine. You can use it. So when you're filling out this materials tracker, you can copy and paste information from here. So you can copy that and you can paste it right over here. So you've got duct tape and you've got 15 centimeters, but the 15 centimeters is basically going to be 1, and it is $10,000, which means now your remaining budget goes down to $90,000 because you start with $100,000. All right, cannot go past $0,000. So your tasks for today: review the presentation slides done by your teacher. You're going to start to create a plan on a piece of paper. Brainstorm. Just grab a piece of paper, brainstorm what it could look like. What do you think it should do? Part of your plan needs to include the materials, so keep track of those materials on this sheet right here. What materials you're using, how much do they cost? Make sure you're thinking about Newton's laws. All right? Write down some of these considerations on your brainstorming paper. You're going to draw your carrier on a piece of paper, include measurements of your carrier. The base that your carrier would be fitting on is 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters, approximately this big. All right? And with your model, we're going to use a standard large chicken egg. You can use plastic eggs as well, but your cargo needs to be able to fit and be contained inside your carrier, and a standard large chicken egg is your cargo. All right, make sure you don't lose your brainstorming sheet or your drawing. Take a good picture of them. You are going to need those later. All right, so if you have any questions, make sure you talk with your teacher. We are here to help.